Relationships are one of the trickiest things that we face in life, whether we're looking at our parents, our siblings, making friends, either as children or as adults. But most importantly, when it comes to intimate partnerships, it can be quite tricky to work out what's healthy and what's unhealthy. Unfortunately, nobody comes with an instruction manual. There's no set of rules that just applies to everyone. We all have different set of circumstances in our lives. We all have different values and ideas about everything. So it can be, it's not just a one size fits all when it comes to beginning a relationship with somebody in any context. As somebody who has experienced both healthy and unhealthy relationships, including a physically and emotionally abusive relationship in my late teens, early 20s, I have, I think, a better understanding of some of the factors that play in whether a relationship is healthy or unhealthy, as I've experienced obviously both sides of that. And I do find, unfortunately, and I hate having to admit this, but the fact is that it's true, I think all too often people don't understand what constitutes something that's unhealthy in a relationship. I think still, even though there's so much talk about it, that people still think that abuse in a relationship is only either physical or sexual. So basically, well, if they don't hit me, then it's not that bad. But the truth is that abuse in a relationship comes in many forms. It can be emotional, it can be financial, it can be social, it can be intellectual, it can even be spiritual, where someone might try to stop you from following your beliefs. So there are multiple facets to what abuse can constitute in a relationship, and I just don't think that enough people recognize when something is not right, or when a relationship has an element of something that is unhealthy. So I wanted to talk about some of the things that I have learned from relationships, from being in both types for myself, and hopefully that can help you understand a little better about whether a relationship is going down a path which is healthy and beneficial to you, because that's ultimately what a relationship should be. As much as it's about two people, it's about making sure that you are in a healthy space that is beneficial to you and is going to make your life one that flourishes and is full of love. So let's take a look. Now, this doesn't mean the relationships don't need to be worked on, because they absolutely do. No relationship will just coast along without some sort of effort from both sides. So if you're having to work on your relationship, don't think that means that there's something wrong with it. But what it does mean is that it should be equal, okay? Love shouldn't just come from one person. So if you're finding that you're having to put a lot more effort in, if you're being told that you need to be a certain way in order to get affection back from someone, if you're having to change who you are to keep receiving the same level of love that you were getting before, that's not very healthy. It should be an equal meet. You should be able to be yourself in a relationship. You should be able to be vulnerable, have bad days, basically be human, and not have those factors indicate whether or not you're going to receive love and support and care from your partner. And that also goes for friendships. If you find that you're putting there's a lot of output from you but not a lot of input from them, it's a good idea to evaluate whether or not that is a relationship of respect and mutual respect, is what I'm trying to say. So that's a really important thing to look at, that you are both giving the same amount and that you're meeting in the middle. We all make mistakes. We are all human, and sometimes, inadvertently we can hurt somebody that we care about. Usually what we'll do is that we will attempt to fix that problem, and that's what a healthy relationship would be, that if you've hurt somebody, you would do everything that you could to make it better. Sorry should only ever be said once. And what I find sometimes, what I found a lot, and I know it happens a lot, especially in abusive relationships, is that sorry is used as a bit of a band-aid as opposed to it actually having meaning. To say sorry to someone, it's an admission of true remorse, that you are genuinely, in the depths of your heart, in the depths of your soul, that you are sorry that you have hurt someone, and that you'll do everything in your power to make it up to the person that you've hurt. When sorry is just thrown about like a band-aid, it's just used as an excuse to palm off that something that's happened. It loses its weight And B, that's so unhealthy because it gives that person the right to just do it again. Well, I said I was sorry, so you can't bring it up. Or I said I was sorry, I didn't mean to do it. And then, well, I've made another mistake, I didn't mean to. So for example, if someone cheats in a relationship, for me it was being hit, you know. If someone has brought you down in public and embarrassed you in front of someone in public, and they say, oh, sorry about that. I mean, a sorry is good, but if it's not followed up by A, that action never happening again, and B, them doing what they can to repair the damage that they've done to you, then that's not right and that's not healthy. If you're finding that the person that you're with is continuing to do that, if they go and cheat again, if they hit you again, if they go and embarrass you in front of a whole new bunch of people and bring you down and call you names or whatever, and their sorry just means nothing at that point. So it's not to say that we can't move on from things that happen, but if it's happening again and again, that's not right. So this one follows on from the last point, because some things can be forgiven, but most things can't actually ever be forgotten, simply because we always have a memory of it in our brain. Now, the way that affects a relationship, there's actually two ways that can affect a relationship. The first is if we stay within a relationship. So for example, if a partner cheats on you, and I'll use that example because I think that's most people sort of understand the concept of that. If a person cheats on you and you decide that they are sorry and you're going to move ahead with the relationship, so you stay with them, you move forward, yes, you can forgive them, but do you forget about what happened, or does that play in the back of your mind? It can taint the rest of a relationship because the trust is gone, because it puts a seed of doubt, a seed of worry in your mind. It can be very hard to let go of that because you know that that happened, and it can put a real chink, a real dent in the armor that was your relationship. So it can really stick with you over the course of your relationship, which can lead to it being fairly unhealthy because you might find yourself unhappy or untrusting or unsure of whether it's going to happen again or whether you should have stayed, or all those sorts of things. The second way that it can affect you is outside of that relationship. So moving ahead, you know, whether you end a relationship there or at some point the relationship ends and you move on from there. Some things will stick with you for life, and I'm the first person to put my hand up and say that there are things from the abusive relationship that I was in that have stuck with me for life, and they affect me to this day, and I'm in a very healthy relationship now, but there are things that trigger memories for me, and in that moment I realize that those things are never forgotten, and it can have an impact on you, whether it is that someone's cheated on you. It can affect how you start another relationship. You might be worried that the next person might do it. If you've been in a relationship where someone has been physically abusive towards you, or whether you're someone who has experienced sexual abuse, you may be fearful of that happening again. You may find yourself untrusting of other people. It may be something that you inadvertently pass down the fears to your children, for example, or you might find yourself afraid to leave your children with other people because of things that have happened to you. So a lot of those things they can be dealt with, and I'm not saying that you'll just find yourself stuck with these memories or these things forever. You can speak to someone and get professional help. You can develop coping mechanisms to deal with them. But what I'm saying is, in terms of a relationship being healthy versus unhealthy, a lot of things can't be forgotten, even though we can forgive. So it should play a part in how you deal with anything that happens in a relationship, if it's something that you want to hold on to or you want to let go of. This one's really, really important to highlight. Strength is not aggression. I think society teaches men, especially men, that in order for them to be considered as men, they need to be strong, which equates to aggression. A lot of women find themselves attracted to the bad boy image, which I think leads to men thinking that the only way they're going to get attention from women is if they sort of don't treat, if they're in that image, or if they don't treat them too well. I mean, you hear the saying, treat them mean, keep them keen. I think all of that plays in together, where men believe that to be strong they have to be aggressive. Strength is not aggression. Strength is loyalty. Strength is working hard. Strength is taking a chance on something. Strength is standing up for something that you believe in, protecting your family, raising a family. it's following a dream. It's putting all of your putting everything that you are into something that you believe in. It's those sorts of things. Aggression is a weakness. Aggression is lack of control. Aggression is attempting to exert power and authority over something so that you can regain that control. Aggression is volatile, and aggression can be extremely dangerous. So please be aware that if you are dealing with someone in any form of your life who shows themselves as an aggressive person, be aware that it can lead to some serious consequences, and it doesn't make them a strong person. So many years ago, I asked my mum why she married my dad. And I mean, first of all, she made a joke about the fact that he was the only person who asked her. But after that, what she said to me was that he was her best friend. And at the time, I didn't really get that. I was like, that's a bit, whatever. But I understand that now, because in the start of a relationship, there's fire, there's passion, it's new and exciting and all that sort of thing. But over time, in a healthy relationship that has longevity, you'll find that when the flame burns down, not out, but down, it simmers a bit. I guess you hit a simmer point is the way to describe it. And life starts to go back to normal. You start, you're buying houses, or you're living together, or you're raising children, or you're getting married, you're doing all those sorts of things. And that passion doesn't stick around forever, because it doesn't. It's really hard to maintain that flame forever. But if there isn't an undercurrent of friendship with the person that you're with, then there's not a relationship that is A, healthy, or B, going to last a very long time. Now, it's not to say that opposites don't go together. I mean, opposites do attract, of course, and so often you'll see two people together, I don't know how that works. But what usually happens is that you want to have the same morals, the same views on life, the same, you don't always have to, but sometimes a similar sort of background, so that you have a similar understanding on what life means to each of you in order for you to connect with each other. Friendship is a really important factor in a healthy relationship. You should be able to lean on your partner. You should be able to go to them when things are getting you down. You should be able to go to them when things are lifting you up. They should be the person that you want to share all your great news with, share your secrets with, share when you're sad and when you're hurt with them. And if you don't feel that you can do that, then it's potentially not a very healthy relationship if you don't feel like that the partner that you are with has your back all the time. So friendship really is a very important key to a healthy and long-lasting relationship. Relationships can be very fickle, but they can also be so rewarding. They give us love, comfort, companionism. Companionism, that's not a word. Relationships are very fickle, but they can also be very rewarding. They provide us with love and joy and companionship and so many wonderful memories. Now, the umbrella which covers everything that I've just talked about is obviously communication, because any flaw or any fault in a relationship, in a healthy relationship, can be worked on, because we can talk to each other about things that are happening. So it doesn't mean that if something is not right in a relationship that you have to just pull the plug and let it go. You should be able to speak to your partner, and you should be able to equally speak to each other and share the things that trouble you or upset you or worry you and things like that. Communication in a relationship gives each party the chance to speak, to listen, to be heard, and to be understood and appreciated and respected. And that's what we want to build our relationship on, because everything else can be worked on, and when we are able to be heard and that we can listen, we learn within ourselves, we learn more about our partner, and our relationships can grow to new heights.